Hello everyone, my name is Joel Martinez. I'm a CEO and owner of J-Mart Solutions. It's I just tell everyone that it's like Kmart, but it's really J-Mart. Uh, no, that wasn't the original idea. Um, but it still has my name. It has my first name and the first four letters of my last name. So hopefully, I just started a business, so I'm excited about that. So I'm just here as a special guest today in Ball My Kitchen. This was an idea that was presented to me by Brad when we worked at VMware together. It was sort of like I was in the break room and we just I feel like it was meant to be, right? So I don't know what I said or what the topic was, but for some reason, this, this idea came up as a conversation. So my reaction was like, wow, that's a great idea. Like it's unique. And most importantly, the theme, is what kind of attracted me to it. So with that, I'm just gonna introduce my dish. This is a traditional Cuban dish called picadillo. It's in English, it's easily translated just a ground beef kind of dish, but it has different kind of vegetables like onions and green peppers. Also, there's different cultures that have different variations. Like for instance, the Mexican culture, uh, they they kind of change it just slightly. One of the main differences is the raisins in the Cuban dish. Um, I myself, Cuban is not my direct background. My parents are from the Dominican Republic, but so they also have their own variation of it. So one of the, so they exclude raisins, but I'm just bringing basically all the land cultures together. And hopefully this is going to be, well, not hopefully, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a great dish. I'm excited to share this with Brad, actually. It actually brings me back to almost more than a decade ago was the first time I tried this with my children, and they were really young at the time. So it kind of brings me back to a special moment where I first tried that dish. So that's the association to it. It's just not a random dish. Now it's just me. If I want a 10-minute dinner, it's really fast. It's really easy, really simple. Excuse me, it's also fun to cook. So I'm confident it's gonna be a delicious dish. So we have ground beef, 93% lean, 7% fat. We have jasmine rice, that's gonna accompany our picadillo. Lemon juice, red wine, soy sauce, olive oil. We have some beef cooking stock. We have raisins, lovely green olives, tomato sauce, black pepper, sea salt, cumin, oregano. We have a yellow onion. We have red pepper, garlic. So what I'm doing now is I'm basically just I added about a pound or so of ground beef into this mixing bowl. I'm using kind of this spoon because it's the spoon I found. But you can use this spoon if you like, or this is a really good, well, it's not a spoon, but it's a really good tool to just kind of break the ground beef apart. Cause what I'm trying to do is avoid any clumps. Like sometimes the ground beef becomes clumpy. That's actually not good for presentation, in case you have visitors and stuff. it kind of looks, in the cooking world, it kind of shows that your skills are not that mature. But not that I'm an expert, but that's what I learned from my experience. I was in the food industry for about 2.5 years, but I've always been interested in, IT has always been my career. But there was a time that I couldn't get back into the IT industry. So I decided, hey, I love to cook. So there was this place open that was called the Meat House. And I was the only one that basically had no experience, absolutely none. I went in there and basically the way I got the job was as a matter of factly, I told them I love to cook, but most importantly, I have children. So I got the job. It was kind of like the best couple years. I mean, I've had good years, ups and downs, of course. But it was actually from a working standpoint, I had a blast. I had a blast. I learned how to cut things. I learned how to prepare things and different techniques on cooking. So there we go.
And you were the fishmonger right here.
I know, that was the fishmonger. Yeah, the fishmonger to...
Oh, you're drinking this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Put it right here.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
didn't realize you were drinking that.
Yeah, it's all good. I kind of forgot that it was there. But so as Brad said, I was a fishmonger. What that means is it's very ironic because I don't like seafood whatsoever. I know that there might be some troubled, probably the audience might be troubled by this, but I've tried plenty of seafood, but I just can't. But anyway, long story short, of course, they have to make me a fishmonger. So what a fishmonger is, unless, you have cooking experience, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a fishmonger is someone that is basically the subject matter expert on fish. So we were taught how to fillet fish, which type of fish pairs with certain type of foods. We had to learn all the details and the different nuances when it comes to fish. So, yep, that's ironic.
But you don't eat them.
Yeah, because I don't eat them, but they're a wonderful thing. So now what I'm doing now, so as I move along, I'm adding soy sauce. And you might not find soy sauce part of the recipe. And that's because it's not part of the recipe. But soy sauce helps it kind of marinate, and it just tenderizes the meat. It's a great ingredient to tenderize the meat. So that's basically what I'm doing. And also, as a bonus, it adds flavor. So next, so what I'm doing now, I'm just adding the liquids. I'm kind of marinating before I actually start chopping things. So I'm adding lemon juice. You probably won't find this either, but I like the acidity aspect of this.
I'm just opening the rice in the background here, making noise. Sorry.
Hey, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. So, and then last but not least, I'll add oil. I'll mix this here, and I'll set this here on the side while I continue on.
I'm making the rice, by the way. Sorry. We talked about that. Really easy rice cooker. I can two little levels, circles of water, and 2 cups of rice, and it's done. That's all there is to it.
Right.
So
I'm so lucky that Brad is taking care of the rice. I mean, a lot of people underestimate the cooking of the rice. I mean, it's easy to mess up. I've learned that it also depends on the type of stove you have, but that's a different topic. So now we're going to use black pepper. So I failed to mention, I'm also gonna season the ground beef. So black pepper, if you have measuring spoons, basically half a spoon, whatever you like, basically whatever you prefer. So the trick here, I mean, the worst case if you overdo it on the pepper, this might be spicy, but some people like that. So I kind of don't measure it officially, but you can follow a recipe and it'll be amazing. Then I'm gonna add some salt. So I'm gonna be very, very careful with the salt at the beginning, because there was a chef that taught me that you can always add salt, but you could never take away. So at the beginning, I just add some salt, just a little bit.
And you mentioned
yes,
this dish can get pretty salty very quick, right?
It can. Right. That's correct. It can get really salty, and because if you add too much salt at the beginning, and depending on what kind of salt you use, like for instance, the sea salt, if you add too much, actually the iodized salt, the regular salt, actually makes it really salty. So that one, you would have to be careful. Sea salt and Himalayan pink salt is kind of ideal. Thank you. It's kind of, and we'll get to that too. So sea salt is actually a very good salt to use because of the saltiness content, if that's even a thing. But so we're gonna use some Dark Horse Pinot Noir from California. Thank you.
No problem. And the rice is cooking.
Yeah.
You should just take a little while. It'll make a noise and pop up once it's done.
And the rice is a very important piece to this dish. So I'm also gonna add some wine, as I mentioned. It smells pretty good.
Now the recipe called for Worcestershire sauce, I think, but you pick wine.
Yes, because as I mentioned earlier, I don't like seafood. And I found out that the Worcestershire sauce has anchovies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Sorry to break that to you.
Good.
But it has anchovies, and I can prove it. Next time if you have a bottle, look at the ingredients and you're gonna see anchovies. So that and Caesar dressing, by the way. But who's taking account of this anyway? But anyway, so we're gonna use cumin. Very nice cumin. I gotta open it.
Oh, it's brand new, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. That's not it's minor.
I like the changes you're making to the recipe here. Pretty neat too, because it says, start with the oil, brown the cumin seeds, and you're like, nah, forget, put it on the pot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. It's and you get into that when, I mean, you kind of feel more comfortable. It's easy to like cook this, but it's also easy to mess up.
Okay.
But it's very flexible. Like you can add flavors and go like, oh man, you could have a bottle of Louisiana and put some in there, and I'd probably add some of that.
Okay.
That's my other additional freestyle. So, I like it. I like just experimenting, but nothing too like outlandish or anything. But anyway, so we're gonna use some organic cumin. I do prefer everything organic, non-GMO, but so that's great. Thank you. So we have some cumin. Again, I don't officially measure this, but I add some and then I just move it around a little bit.
It'll give you about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half.
Yes, around there.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably add some more because now I just flipped it over and that side doesn't have any. So that's my rationale. There we go. So we're done with this. Now we're gonna use some oregano. Oregano is a great herb to use while you're cooking. Great flavor. Also, by accident, you dump a bunch of oregano. It's not that bad. So that's good too, as opposed to like salt or anything else. So basically like a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of, depending if it's 1 pound that you're cooking or if it's for a big family, then you would use more, obviously. So then, of course, the same principle. I will flip it around and add some more. There we go. Making sure that it's nicely covered, gives you that nice flavor. So right now, this is what it looks like. Can you see it? Okay. Yeah. This is what it looks like, basically, with my seasoning. And you see how the whole idea of breaking it apart. I'm basically constantly doing that. Not that you have to, but it's kind of better too. And that's another thing that I've learned from wonderful people while I was learning how to cook at that place, the Meat House, which it's not there anymore, but it's still a company. But anyway, so this is how it looks like. It looks great, coming out spectacular. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add the onion, the red pepper, and the garlic to this mixing bowl.
Joe's use fresh garlic?
Yes, fresh garlic.
Okay.
I mean, you can use already minced garlic. In my opinion, this gives it better flavor, the more authentic garlic flavor. So garlic is a wonderful thing. So now what I'm doing, I'm just cleaning off the red pepper here. Make sure all the seeds. I actually I learned how to do this in the Meat House as well. So basically, there's no official style of doing this. I mean, you could, if you're a big green pepper and red pepper person, you can slice it. You can slice it just like this. What I like to do, I just like to dice them. So basically, I'm gonna try to do the whole thing. So I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit. Like I said, there's no real technique. I try to do, this is called the cat claw, or the claw, which when you rest the knife here, it avoids your fingers from being cut. Like, for example, if you're holding it like this and you happen to bring your knife down, it could be a bad day for you. But so the claw kind of helps it grab it and stabilize it. But otherwise, there's no technique. There's no technique. Yeah, you can cut it. Now I just bring it together here. The knife is my friend. I love this knife. So then I'm gonna mince it a little bit. I'm mincing.
You gonna use the whole pepper for a pound?
Just for the sake of, I'm gonna use, this is how I would do it at home, so I'm just gonna use the whole pepper.
I'm a huge fan of peppers. I put them on salads and everything, so this is great. I like what's happening right now.
Wonderful. I'm happy. There we go. Lovely. It also gives off a good fragrance, in my opinion. Excellent knives I bought in my kitchen. Great. I feel like a professional with these knives. And that's being honest.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Those were actually a birthday present from my travel buddy, Jen.
Nice, yeah. Nice. These are excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah. But of course, I mean, I don't expect anything less from you, Brad. Of course, that has to be great. All right, so I'm throwing that in there. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the yellow onion.
Sweet onion. You mean?
Yeah, sweet onion. Sweet onion. So I'll remove all these little things. All right. So now make sure there's no skin. Well, at least I'm doing this like I would do it at home. No, so I'll just peel off another layer. I learned that from a good friend. People do not enjoy this in a restaurant. So then I'll cut it again, the claw. So I just cut it as such. You can leave it like this. You can leave it like this if you like, if you an onion person like. But what I basically do, I just try to dice them as best as I can. Since this knife is the bomb, I'm just gonna do this. Of course, this takes some practice to do. I wouldn't recommend this as a safety thing, but as a safe technique, but I'll just dice them as best as I can. There we go. Now I'm gonna throw that in. All right. So now we're gonna go on with the garlic. So I just try to do a couple. I don't really have like a super neat way of doing this. So I'll start with this. I'll just try to peel off what I can with my hands. And then I'll kind of just crush it here with the knife. It actually works way better on the granite, but anyway, that's the technique. That's the technique. I'm gonna have to do it again.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting it.
Take your time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
You can do it on the granite if you want to, man. I'm fine.
All right. So I'm just gonna put some garlic here, and garlic is really delicious when it comes to this dish. Very subtle, but still delicious. So I'll try to dice them. Get everything. Make sure. Put that in there. I try to do like 2 or 3 cloves. If you enjoy the garlic flavor, I mean, if there's nothing wrong with adding more. Or you can use black garlic also. So what we've done, we've added olive oil to the pan, the cast iron pan we're using. Very exciting that I'm using this today, but you can use any other pan. Whatever you feel comfortable. If you have your most favorite pan, you can use that also. But what we're doing, we set it to like medium-ish. The heat is more like on the high side, but not all the way. It's from a scale of 1 to 10, it's 6 right now. So it's not all the way high. The reason why is because we want to let this get warm a little bit, but we don't want it to start burning our meat immediately. So the way I'm going to test this, if it's hot, a lot of you might already know this technique, but I'll just get a little bit of water on my hand, and it starts sizzling, then the oil's hot. But as you can see, the oil's it's not sizzling yet, so it's still warming up. So now the oil appears hot, it's sizzling. Did my little test, so now I'm just gonna add the meat. I'll try to be as careful as possible here, so I don't want it to splash all over me. Just like so. Try to get everything in. All the delicious ingredients here that are gonna be amazing. And then I'll start breaking it up. So now we're browning it. making sure we brown it. All right, so we've switched tools. This is way better. So now I'm breaking it apart. I might lower this a little bit to 5, only because if I can't do this fast enough, then it's gonna start burning. So I want to take my time, do this as delicate as possible. I'm just gonna do the same concept, just flip it around, make sure everything's brown. The meat, you're trying to get the meat brown. We're browning the meat, in other words. Depending if you need to, if you're like an expert at doing this and you break it up really quickly, you can always increase the heat so it can go faster, but I like to take my time. Just a personal preference.
How often would you say you make this at home? Is this something you regularly make, like cold weather or hot weather? Like when does this come up typically?
I mean, a nice winter meal is good because warm, you have the rice. I like to have a side salad with it and my avocado on the side.
Okay.
So I have that. The salad pairs really well. It's also like a staple in the Latin culture. So I grew up with, my mom would always give me a side salad. So I would mix them together. I would make my own dressing. You know, I like lemony, vinegary kind of base dressings for my salads. So I believe it pairs really well with this dish. But also you can be very creative. You can have like a macaroni salad if you like, you know, like it's whatever. So some people might, depending on the dish you have, you might want to dump the extra liquid here that's being produced by the meat, but I tend to keep it because it gives it more flavor. It's easier, it gets it more tender. So I just choose to leave it. You know, now if it's a meat that's high in fat content, then yes, I would recommend you pouring out the majority of the fat. Because then it feels greasy, it feels like cheap meat. So now I'm gonna add, Brad was kind enough to assist me. He filled a cup of beef stock to a cup of filtered water. So now we're gonna add this. I'm using this to further tenderize the meat. So I'm gonna turn the heat up to close to boiling. And for this particular stove is gonna be 8. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm incorporating the meat here and beef stock and water mixture. I'm gonna evaporate the liquid here a little bit. It's gonna boil, and I'm gonna wait for this. Just a few moments. You could move it around in between, right? If you see any clumps like I just did right now, press it down like so. Make sure nothing is burning to the bottom. Yeah, you know, you can do different variations to it. You can add your hot peppers. You can even add bacon. You can add other things like sausage, other meat if you like. I mean, you won't find that in a video, and then you have to call it your own dish, but it's very versatile like that. I'm now going to add, you could also use tomato paste, but this is tomato sauce, so I'm just gonna pour a little bit, 2, 3, 4, about 4, maybe a little more. There we go. And then I'll just move this around. I mean, you're free to use more if you like, if you prefer. I may or may not add some more. Just depends. Like if it's tomato paste, you don't have to add as much. It's more concentrated. So the tomato sauce, sometimes you gotta add a little more.
What are you looking for when you say add more? Like, what is it, a consistency thing, or is it?
So that's a good question. So when reading the consistency is one, and also just it helps with the sauce that it's making here, like this liquid that it's making. I've learned that with the recipe, they add it for flavor and to when they reduce this.
Okay.
Yeah, it gives it like a tomatoey base.
All right, nice.
Sauce to it. And it also changed the color. It gives it a little color to it as well. And now I'll lower the temperature to like 2. Now I'm gonna add the olives. It's kind of like one of the best parts. So I'm adding the olives here. We got some great avocado here on the side that we're gonna add to the finished product. So I'm adding olives, and I'm also adding some of the juice, the olive juice. That helps with flavor. And it also further tenderizes the meat. So I'm gonna mix this in, let it simmer. And now, last but not least, is going to be the raisins. 1/4 cup, I'll just add it to the meat here. 1/4 cup is a good amount when you have a pound. Cause you don't want to overdo it either, because it might change the flavor just a little bit. But I'll mix it in here. So as you can see here, Brad did a fabulous job at rice with a circle rice with a space in the middle. Circle rice, let's just call it that. But this is on our way to the traditional way of serving this. So thank you, Brad, for doing that. So now I'm gonna add the meat in the middle. We're going to add the avocado now on the side. I don't know, depending how many avocados you have, you kind of make them into a nice little circle here. This is popular, not only the Cuban culture, but the Latin culture in general.
You want to try it?
Yeah, let's try.
And you already added some salt.
Yeah, I added some salt because personal preference.
Yeah, and you mentioned the hot sauce.
The hot sauce.
Jason, while he was here, did leave us some hot sauce.
Thank you, Jason.
This one's actually open.
There we go. Look at that.
And
And I'll go ahead and add some.
oh, nice.
Yep, it tastes really good.
You like yours a little spicier?
Yeah, you know what? I like the flavor that this gives. It's like tangy and like
However you're having yours.
Slightly spicy.
All right.
And then we kind of mix it in a little bit. And as we said, the combination bite of just having everything with it.
Avocado, all of it.
Enjoy, yeah.
All right. That was good.
Yeah.
And the flavors, I like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's yummy.
Mm-hmm. The raisins is kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Gives it a sweet.
Yeah.
And then you can add the...
Well, thanks for letting me help you on this video, by the way. This is the first time I've been able to help in a video, which is kind of fun. I appreciate it.
Yep, it was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was fun. It was great.
Yeah. This has been Bar in My Kitchen. Please like and subscribe.
Yep.
Thank you, Joel, for coming over and doing this. I know it's kind of a random conversation that led here, but I'm really glad you made it.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Bar in My Kitchen, everyone. subscribe.
Bye, guys.
Bye.